Greetings from Iowa City, the beautiful Iowa City. And we, every year, we have something called special in our show, Education Exchange. It's been on the air now for 28 years. So every year we have a special. Sometimes we have two of them. We feature or we show one of what we consider very special in our district. Most of the time we focus on kids who have certain talents. Maybe throughout the years we had, or 3 times we presented some of the educators too, or the principals that do things that are very special. It's my privilege this year to have the chance to introduce Mitch Gross. That's, of course, he's a well-known personality in this community, whether it's in Iowa City or in Coralville. He is a leading political figure, in addition to his legacy in education and all the generations that he taught since 2003, 2004.
Yep.
And at first I think you began at West High, right?
Correct.
And Mitch Gross is moved. You moved this year from classroom, from the trenches, into the administrative role. That's why the special is we want to see what evolves in a person when he moves, leaving his lovely classroom environment and ambiance to be doing regular disciplinary, sometimes methodical application, training, teachers, and all that dry thing that is different from the everyday connections with students. On my right side is Viraj Thacker, our co-host here. And on your right side, Mitch, is Zola Gross, remarkable junior high student who's moving this year into or to West High, right? And so 4 years from now, you are going to be leaving Iowa City. Is that your intention?
Yeah.
Or you're going to stay with us here?
I'll probably leave.
So Mitch, I want to give you the chance to tell us how did you come up with the idea of moving? You had a very successful, happy, joyful job there. I know that you were, last year you were doing some administrative jobs in addition to the advising, right? The counseling and all that.
Yeah, well, thanks, Hani, for having us on, and what an honor to be part of the special show. You know, I've had my principal's license since 2010 and have been asked a few other times to pursue that route, and really never felt ready to make that jump, to make that leap, because I really felt my calling was in the classroom. Last year, as you mentioned, I was teaching AP US History in the morning and then in the office in the afternoon, and really enjoyed that work quite a bit. And but on the last day of school last year, I would have anticipated being back at West, just as I had been you know, for the last 15 years. But I did receive a call in the first or second week of June, and was presented with an opportunity to come to Northwest Junior High as the assistant principal. And after a lot of deliberation and thought, I decided it was a good time in my career, after spending 15 years at West, to maybe make the jump and give administration a try.
When we discussed during our preparation meeting what we are going to talk about, you wanted to focus on the reflection of your experience as an educator and your views as not only an observer, but somebody who implements policy and all that in classroom. So you want to talk about learning and about what we offer. What do you have on your plate for us?
Yeah, well, I think, obviously I've enjoyed students and working with them on a one-on-one basis. And, I had one of my principals at West all these years, Molly Abraham, who had been trying to convince me to go into administration. When I would always tell her I'm worried about losing contact with kids, she would say, no, you'll be able to still have that if you want to. And she was right. It really depends on what kind of an administrator you are, and I've been one that's been, I hope, to be pretty present in the school. I eat lunch in the cafeteria with the students. I'm out in the hallways. I'm visiting classrooms, and I've already got to know quite a few of the students. I think the one thing that I miss maybe is discussing my content area. I love talking about politics and history and sharing my knowledge with students and hearing their views and perspectives. So that, the content area is a spot that I miss. But dealing with students, interacting with students, that really hasn't changed much. And also, I've really enjoyed the role that I have from a curricular standpoint, not just with social studies, but in all the curricular areas, and meeting teachers. I think teaching is the best job in the world, and we have such amazing teachers in Iowa City, and really amazing teachers at Northwest Junior High. I'm really, really fortunate to be able to work with such amazing people, and I'm hoping that they're going to be able to learn a little bit from me based on my 15 years of experience, and I'm hoping to learn a lot from them as well.
Mitch, let us go a little bit to a part that's a little serious, because I was studying some of the new research in education, and there were some focus on what they called the Linkster generation, which is a generation that followed the millennials. And they made a real comparison between the two generations. And what I understood from it is the Linksters are the kids that are born after 2002. And they have their own vocabulary, they have their own culture, they have their own outlook at the past, they have their own consideration, they have own aspiration, and they have even their own language, vocabulary. While the millennials were still attached to the Generation X and the generation that preceded them. As a principal now, or administrator, you are going to be dealing with this generation. How ready are you? You're young, and that's good, because, I mean, usually people have problem when they are old and they don't understand what's going on. They don't watch the TV, that they don't know about the stars. They don't know about, they are lost. But how did you prepare yourself to deal with generation, especially at junior high level, which is the most challenging period?
Yeah, well, I think, I live with 3 Linksters, it sounds like, having
Good.
3 Linkster daughters, and that was one of the appeals of the job at Northwest too, that my oldest daughter Zola was going to be an 8th grader, and I have 2 more daughters that will be coming through. So, that was definitely something I considered when I took this job. But also, I think the number one thing with Linksters and even with millennials is the advent of technology.
Yeah.
And I think we as educators have a responsibility to teach proper citizenship with technology. When's it proper to use it? When is it not proper to use it? And me being a social scientist, the importance of still having strong interpersonal connections and relationships with people. So that's one of the things that I'm really working on, and it's even more incumbent upon us now, because at the junior highs this year, they also went 1-to-1. So every junior high, every secondary student now in Iowa City has a device in front of them to take home and to use. So it's really important that we're making sure that students are taught the correct way to use that, and that there's also something beyond technology as well, and the art of human interaction.
I was actually trying to pave the way for Zola in order that she would be a good resource for you, because as far as the cultural part, and Linksters, Zola has to do with link, which is, as Dad mentioned, it has to do with technology. I mean, everything you do with your thumb is link. Mm-hmm. And that's why they use this. So your contribution is very important because you represent your generation, and Dad, does he listen to you sometime when you talk about opinions and all that?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, not really.
Well,
Depends the topic.
he's a typical open-minded,
Yeah,
you know,
it kind of depends on what we're talking about.
right.
Some stuff I know I'm right on, and then other stuff.
But
you know,
I heard rumors that you did something in school when Dad was trying to implement certain rules, that you joined the other campaign that's protesting against. Is that true?
Kind of. Yeah, pretty much.
So you signed up a petition or something?
Yeah, but like,
What was the story? I mean, just give me that. Yeah. No, you tell me.
Yeah, you tell the story.
Yeah.
okay, so we have this thing called Viking time. It's like 25 minutes. It's like basically a study hall, but like teachers can like call you in if you like to help you like to do an assignment or something. Well, last year if you had an A, B, or C in every class, you could go to like the library, the cafeteria, or something. But this year you can't do that, and a lot of like 8th graders were really mad. So.
It's just more of a logistical kind of a issue, not
Right.
necessarily a
Philosophical. Yeah.
Well, but for the reason why we got rid of the policy, I think, was both logistical and philosophical. I think logistically, the principal, Liz Bruning, who is doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, she's going to be in our show in 3-4 weeks.
Good. She's doing great. Our thought was that, first of all, as we analyzed last year at Northwest Junior High, a lot of the teachers, a complaint that we heard was that students were in large droves in hallways unsupervised. So we looked at ways to minimize that, and that was one way to do it. But second, third reason from a philosophical standpoint is Zola said students were able to use these plus areas who had A, B's, and C's. Well, the students left in the classrooms, they were kind of known to be the students not with poor grades. And I personally had an issue that students were being identified that way from a grade standpoint. And so, and as did Mrs. Bruning. So as we discussed, we thought we can really kill two birds with one stone by making Viking time much more academically focused, where students are working on topics and getting enrichment exercise or reteaching or retesting, rather than just going to the gym or cafeteria or this or that. So, we stood by the decision. Zola and some friends petitioned that we end the policy, and Mrs. Bruning ended up having the author of the petition in to her office and explained what our rationale was. And I think he left the meeting pretty satisfied with the response.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just going back to, I think a few shows ago we had a very good discussion on Nexters and the whole thing on technology. So I'm just trying to relate, as being a fellow social scientist, how that applies, because we don't have that much avenue to apply technology in our
Correct.
Yeah. So how you would think of ways now that as administrator you'd have more control over even your content, right? How we'd find an application towards.
Well, that's one of the things that is our job as administrators, is to really help teachers find new and innovative ways to deliver content using technology to keep students engaged. And obviously, we have these 21st century skills that all students are going to have to be, really proficient on as they enter into the next realm of their education. So I think it is a balancing act between making sure our students are technologically savvy, but also, again, the premium of interpersonal skills and being able to orally and verbally communicate and write. I still put the premium on those skills personally. And as you said, Hani, Zola is much more technologically sound than I am. That's one thing where she does give me a lot of advice, and I do listen most of the times to her on those types of things, because I'm, with my age, I'm kind of in that digital. I'm a little too old not to be I should be more technologically savvy, but I'm also young enough that I'm still trying to figure things out as well.
So you can really get into Instagram, for instance?
That's actually my goal is to get an Instagram
He has a Twitter
set up.
account.
I have a Twitter, yeah.
I said junior high kids do not have Twitter, unlike high school kids. And so we are setting him an Instagram account pretty soon so that
So we're gonna.
But it's also been interesting because as a junior high administrator, a lot of the drama and issues that have come up have been revolved around social media. She's not going to like that I say this, but we've said no to Snapchat, for example, at our house. I think it's been. I wish more parents would adhere to that. Snapchat has been at the root of many of the issues that we've had at school already because it's, it gets into a he said, or she said. But once it's gone from Snapchat, you can't. There's no proof. And our agreement is that she can have an Instagram account, which she hasn't yet. So we'll be starting that up. And I guess obviously I understand that social media is it's here and it's here to stay. But I also think parents have a responsibility to monitor it and to make sure that it's being used appropriately and
discretion. And a lot of negative things happen because of social media, of course. I mean, especially with Snapchat, where a person that's not a predator or something can get inside and know where the kid right now is, which location, what they are doing, and some of the breaking down of the privacy.
Mm-hmm.
Especially of young people, because they don't have enough protection to be in the wide, nowhere cyberspace. So now, what is your advice? Let me go back a little bit. I have noticed that most of the successful administrators, most of them, the successful ones, remarkable ones, have really long history of teaching. I have had some students who say, well, I just want to go get my BA and get my master's and become a principal after. I just take 2 years in the classroom. They usually don't succeed very much. And I think it's very important for the principal to have an idea about what's really going on. What's the scenario of the, what is the interaction? What's going on in the classroom? Now, what's your advice? If I am a young teacher now, and I want to go to administration, what would you tell me?
Well, I think one of the knocks on administrators is they're too far removed from the classroom.
Right.
And I think there is some validity to that. And that's why I chose to teach for 15 years before I made this jump. And I think it has given me a lot of credibility with my colleagues at Northwest. And again, I'll point to Molly Abraham again at Northwest, this very respected administrator. And she taught, I think, 15 or 16 years as well before she jumped into administration. So I think it's really important from that standpoint, because I do feel that I told the teachers at Northwest, I'm going to lead like I would have wanted to have been led as a teacher. And as I said, I think teaching is so important. And the big picture of teachers are happy, students are happy. And if students are happy, parents are happy. If parents are happy, administrators are happy. So it really does come down to the teachers and making sure that they're getting what they need. And I feel like I do have that teacher brain. So I'm leading kind of with a teacher's perspective. Obviously, there's a few decisions where I've had to make that teachers aren't going to always be happy with that, but they've also said they respect that decision because of the years I served in the classroom.
Because it comes out of an experience.
Right.
From the void.
Yeah, personally, in Iowa, you can go into administration after just teaching for 3 years, which I don't think is personally great. I have taught more than some administrators have, administered. So, I'm not sure if everybody needs to wait 15 years, but for me, I think it was the right choice. And I know that I've, as a teacher, enjoyed administrators that had a lot of teaching experience to back their advice up.
I want to move to you, Zola, a couple of minutes, and tell me what kind of support you and your colleagues find in your school. other than the peer support?
I think just always having someone to like go to if you have like a problem. I felt like last year it wasn't hard, but like just I don't know. But like this year it's just so much easier. And it might be just having him there. Like I always have a guaranteed person I can talk to, but I think for other students as well, it's easier.
Yeah, but there is always some adult that you can relate to in the building, right? And this is important, right? Let us move to something else. Would you like to raise?
No, I'm just going by what you were saying about the experience. I look at statistically, top schools and their college or university presidents. The good ones are ones that have almost gone through the same school,
Right.
become professors, they've taught for a long time, and that comes out. And even recently when we were visiting Yale, when you have direct conferencing with the president and different deans, and you can tell people that have been through, and are with the student body and can think on a similar kind of
Yeah.
I think it's very important.
Yeah. Well, I'm still coaching tennis, and I've always tried to be a player's coach, and I told my teachers at Northwest I want to be a teacher's principal as well, because I just think it's so, very, very important.
Absolutely.
In your dreams, what would you like to do, Zola, in the future? I mean, you have been in this program before your dad even showed up here. I mean, a couple of years. How many years ago? Maybe 5?
1.5.
No, more. That was 1.
Yeah, you've been on twice.
No, but yeah, you were with a group of students with projects.
This is my second time?
This is your third time on the show.
Yeah, that's you. Yeah.
Oh, I did one with you right after.
That was. But in the old memory, you came when you were in elementary school. You were at Wickham, and you talked to us about the project that you did and all that. I'm trying to get to my point before I forget it. What's your dream about the future? What's your aspiration? What would you like to be? Now you have a good example. Dad is a successful political guy. He's a mayor or a pro tem mayor of a big city. And not only big city, one of the most successful cities in the United States. Fastest growing. You can see the difference between Coralville that I knew when I first came to this country and Coralville that's now. I mean, Iowa City can hardly compete with. I'm sorry, I know that I am on the city channel and I have to say you are the best people. Don't edit me here. But Coralville is becoming a fascinating place. Very clean, very beautiful, very amazing, very welcoming. So he is successful in this area. And then as a teacher, he was successful. We hope that he will be one of the remarkable principals as well. Is he one of your role models? Or you want to do something very different?
I think part of me does, but then the other half wants to do what he did. Because like I see the impact he has on kids. And like you just see the satisfaction in his face, like when everything like works out really well. And like I want some of that too.
And that's why we call this show "Change Hat." He had changed his hat, but he kept his heart, which is very amazing. I want to come one day and see you doing disciplinary thing and see how you do it with a big heart.
That's the only way to do it.
Yeah. It's difficult sometimes.
Oh, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. But it's very important, and it's an essential part of the job. And I knew that would be part of the job when I took it. Yep.
But you said I'm going to approach this with my heart, with my feeling.
Yeah, well, I think anytime we're doing discipline, it's to change behavior, and that's it's not to punish, it's to change behavior. So that's my mindset in figuring out what caused the misbehavior in the first place.
We are very happy to have both of you tonight, definitely. And as you know, this program is going to be on City Channel. That's our new sponsor. And we are so proud of the effort that the city manager in Iowa City, as well as your friends Simon, Andrew, and Shannon McMahon, and all this group, and Ty, and of course my dear friend Kevin Crawley, helped us taking this to beyond PATV and YouTube into the regular audience of the City Channel. So we are happy that you have more audience. And we wish you all the success, you and Zola. And we want to see you again here.
Anytime.
And again, anytime. On this note, I have to wrap it up because you see the sign came to me. And to thank Michael Peterson, just came from Minnesota. We gave him, John Karoff gave him like a vacation for 3 shows or 4 shows. So he was relieved from this responsibility. Now he's back. And I want to thank Addison. Addison is our camera person. She's a 7th grader. Can you believe that?
That's wonderful.
Very talented young lady. And we thank you very much for the work you do with us. And of course, Dr. G. Gerardo Sandoval, he is the director of this place, and Sujat Singh and Alex, they are 2 directors. And on this note, I would wish you everybody a very good night from beautiful Iowa City and Coralville.
Excellent. Thank you, guys.